Think about this for a moment. What if someone caused harm, but didn't understand what they were doing? Are they truly responsible? What if a person had 24 different identities and only one of them committed the crime? Which one do you put on trial? What if someone was completely convinced they were saving the world, but was ending lives to do it? Is that madness or sacrifice? Tonight, you'll come face to face with 4 broken minds. 4 people the justice system didn't know what to do with. 4 cases that forever changed the line between insanity and crime. Where we look at darkness not out of fear, but to understand it. Jeffrey Dahmer was afraid of one thing, not the police, not prison, not death, being alone. After his arrest, psychiatrists discovered something they didn't expect. Dahmer wasn't driven by sadism. He wasn't filled with rage. He was someone who desperately needed people to stay. And because he didn't know how to make that happen, he found a way to make sure no one ever left. Psychiatric diagnosis, borderline personality disorder, schizotypal personality disorder, and necrophilia as a separate paraphilic disorder. Dahmer didn't harm people because he hated them. He did it because he was attached to them, in the way only a deeply broken mind can be attached. The court psychiatrist stated that Dahmer knew his actions were wrong, but was unable to stop, and that one sentence shows the difference between legal insanity and mental illness. Dahmer wasn't legally insane. He was simply shattered from the inside. IQ 145, more than 2 standard deviations above the population average. When Edmund Kemper sat down with FBI agents, they were the ones taking notes. He helped them understand the mind of serial offenders. He trained them, while being one himself. Psychiatric diagnosis, antisocial personality disorder with psychopathic traits. An earlier diagnosis of schizophrenia was formally withdrawn by psychiatrists who found no signs of delusion or hallucination. Kemper was different from most people with his profile. He felt things. His emotions were just wired in the wrong direction. In his interviews, he described the act of ending a life as a release, a pressure that had been building inside him for years. And the strangest part? Kemper called the police himself. He confessed voluntarily, because he wanted it to be over, a psychopath who had grown tired of himself. October 1972, California. Herbert Mullen was reading the newspaper, an article about earthquakes in California, and a voice inside his head said, "You have to stop it." Mullen believed that the Vietnam War had produced enough casualties to prevent earthquakes as a kind of natural balance, but now that the war was ending, he felt he had to provide those sacrifices himself. Diagnosis: paranoid schizophrenia, severely worsened by years of LSD use. Psychiatrists confirmed that Mullen genuinely believed what he was doing. This wasn't a delusion he secretly knew was false. For him, it was as real as the ground beneath his feet. And here is the most unsettling part. In court, Mullen defended every single act, not because he felt no remorse, but because he was certain he had done the right thing. Nothing could break that belief, not even reality itself. Billy Milligan wasn't present at his own trial, not because he had escaped, because Billy, the core identity, simply wasn't out when the crimes took place. Psychiatrists identified 24 distinct identities living inside one body. Among them, Arthur, a composed British man, an expert in science and medicine; Regan Vidaskovinic, a Yugoslav communist who had carried out the robberies; Adelana, a 19-year-old who had committed the assaults; and Christine, a 3-year-old girl. Diagnosis: dissociative identity disorder. The court had to decide which Billy was responsible. On December 4, 1978, in a landmark ruling, Milligan became the first defendant in American history to be found not guilty by reason of insanity based on multiple personality disorder. The legal system was now facing a question it had no answer for. If the self doesn't exist, who is accountable? 4 people, 4 minds, 4 ways of breaking. Dahmer was running from loneliness. Kemper was exhausted by his own existence. Mullen believed he was saving the world. Milligan simply wasn't there. And the question the justice system is still wrestling with today: when the mind breaks, where does responsibility go? Maybe the answer is that we still don't know. And perhaps that uncertainty is the most unsettling part of all. Some people carry their darkness like a wound, others wear it like a crown. But these 4, they didn't even know they had darkness at all.